Hello and welcome to the 200th edition of the Daily Sporran, and I thought for this anniversary I'd do something different to celebrate. So I'm going to do 2 episodes in a row about 1969, the crucial Jethro Tull year when everything changes, through the lens of 2 throwaway songs from each half of that year. This week I'm going to look at the first half of the year, and the song is Driving Song, the B-side of Living in the Past. I'll say much more about it at the end, but I hope you enjoy it. Wish me luck. Will they ever stop driving me? Have they ever taken time to see that I need some rest if I'm to do my best? Can I please stop working so hard? They just tell me gotta push it hard. Gonna think of my health. Can I be by myself? Oh, they tell me I'll be home someday. Well, I doubt it if I continue this way, 'cause this hard life I've led is making me dead. So, that's Driving Song. Let's start at the beginning of 1969. Jethro Tull have gone through a very busy period in the last 2 months of 1968 when they've become, if not famous, then cultish, and critics are liking them, and the Rolling Stones took a shine to them and asked them to appear on their TV special Rock and Roll Circus, which was filmed but never screened for interesting reasons. One theory is because The Who were considered to have played a much better gig on the mock TV show, or the TV show, than the Rolling Stones, and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards decided to pull the whole thing. But on that Rock and Roll Circus, Jethro Tull play miming, apart from Ian Anderson's vocals, a song for Jeffrey from the 1968 This Was album. Famously, Tony Iommi, later of Black Sabbath, appears as the guitarist, miming away. He's in the band for 2 weeks. Why? Because Mick Abrahams is kicked out the band in November. Tony Iommi is recruited. It doesn't work out. He leaves after a couple of weeks. And then Martin Barr, who had auditioned before, is brought back in for another interview or another rehearsal or another audition. And in December, just before Christmas, he's hired. And he plays 2 gigs with Jethro Tull right at the end of December 1968. 1969, on the other hand, becomes unbelievably busy for Jethro Tull. And let me just read out some stats which I've assembled nerdily. Between January the 1st and June the 30th, so in the first half of 1969, Jethro Tull plays 79 gigs in 181 days. They start with 13 gigs right at the beginning of 1969 in the UK, and one in Sweden and one in Denmark. They take a boat back from Denmark, which is famously when Ian Anderson, with a mandolin that he's bought in Denmark, writes Fat Man. They then do 18 gigs in the United States in their first tour. They then record Living in the Past. They do another 7 gigs in the United States, and then they record this song, Driving Song. Those are the only 2 songs ever recorded in the USA, I think, by Jethro Tull. Someone will correct me if that's wrong. And then they do another 12 gigs in the USA. That's a total of 37 concerts before mid-April in the United States. Then they come back. They spend a month or so recording Stand Up. They go back on the road, 18 more gigs in the UK and Ireland, and 8 gigs in the USA. That's 26 gigs. Oh, no, sorry. And then another 3 gigs right at the end of June. So that's 29 gigs. I mean, astonishing amount of touring as well as recording a new album, all going on at the same time. So no wonder he's writing, will they ever stop driving me? Have they ever taken time to see that I need some rest if I'm to do my best? I mean, this is a plea to Terry Ellis, the manager, and to the record company, and to the incessant driving, literally driving them on to keep going. In the midst of all this frenzy, Ian Anderson starts to write very different kinds of songs. And just to give you a sense of what that is, you know, famously, this was their first album is written, and on the back cover, Ian Anderson writes in the sleeve notes, this was how we were playing then, but we've moved on. So he's already disowning the first album as it's released. By the end of '68, when Martin Barr starts playing with the band, there's already a couple of songs that will appear on Stand Up, which are very different kinds of songs. Back to the Family is one. Nothing is Easy becomes another. Songs which have blues feel to them, but are much more with folky and rocky elements to it, departing from the This Was tradition. But I think there are 3 songs in particular that exemplify this sort of blues transition to the stand-up album material. The first of which is To Be Sad Is a Mad Way to Be. You might remember that song. It was played in a live set, never recorded on a studio or an album. But it's a song that is bluesy, but has things in it that you will recognise from Driving Song. So it's... So the bass line of To Be Sad Is a Mad Way to Be, a song that Ian Anderson also doesn't like, and we know he doesn't like it because the 2 times that they play it in Sweden and Denmark in January, we have recordings for both of those versions. Each time he insults the song right at the beginning. First time he says this is a very bad song. Second time he says it's the worst song we play. But he says at one point, this is a song that's kind of like a Chicken Shack, John Mayall, Peter Green song. So it's bluesy rock. It's moving away from pure blues into more rock. But what's interesting for me about that song is the chromatic scales that are used. That's very like Driving Song, right? Because Driving Song, a song recorded in March, it's using those notes in between the main notes of the chord. That's a major 7th, and an augmented, a diminished 5th. Now, the other song that is in that tradition, which I think is the real breakthrough song in this sort of blues transition mould, is using those chromatic, very like Driving Song. Very like Driving Song. And New Day Yesterday was written around the same time as this song was knocked up driving song. So Ian Anderson's thoughts and the band's thoughts are thinking about blues, but in a more chromatic, using the chromatic notes, which is a more jazzy, but you could say more proggy way of inflecting the basic blues formula. So those three songs all have lots in common, it seems to me. That show Ian Anderson's mind working to break away from the strictures of a more strict bluesy format. I should say, however, that bass line in To Be Sad Is a Mad Way to Be is, of course, Glenn Cornick's bass line. I've no idea whether Ian Anderson wrote it for him or it's his. And this song, Driving Song, if you read the sleeve notes of Stand Up, Martin Barr says that he wrote the guitar part. So I guess he came up to Ian Anderson and said, I've got this great line. And Ian Anderson put the song on top of it. So it's not just Ian Anderson's mind, it's the band's mind that's collectively moving in this way, it seems to me. Anyway, this song recorded in California in March '69, the same day that the vocals for Living in the Past were put on top of the Living in the Past backing track that had been recorded a couple of weeks before on the East Coast of the United States. A song which I think is really a farewell to a more traditional bluesy Jethro Tull. You don't get anything as straightforward as after this. Even on Stand Up, you don't get anything as simple as that. So a song about the moment they're in lyrically, a song which reflects this transition from the more straightforward blues of This Was to blues-inflected other things on Stand Up, which is about to happen. And a song that I think mirrors some of the more interesting innovations in tunes and riffs that Ian Anderson is thinking about at the time. Okay, enough of that. I'll see you next week when we talk about 17, the B-side of Sweet Dream. See you then.